What's going on, team? Proof here, and today I'm going at you with some replay commentary. It's been a while since I've last done this, but in preparation for Springfest Newark, I played a whole lot of V-Series, and my enjoyment for the format just increased a whole lot. So I've been wanting to branch out from Spike some more and try out some different decks, and ideally through doing this replay series, I guess it's not necessarily a series, but doing some more replay commentary, I've kind of been wanting to play decks that have been fun and interesting to me. However, even though I do want to branch out from Spikes, this replay video and probably the one after this is going to be focused on Spikes, because as you saw in my previous video of my recruit report, Spikes got some fun cards in Clan Collection, most notably Juggernaut Maximum. So the deck that I'm going to be showing today, along with the replays, are going to be centered around utilizing Maximum to max benefit. So the plan today, I want to showcase the deck, kind of give a general overview of what the deck is trying to accomplish, and then go into 3 replays, kind of showing it in different scenarios and situations. So yeah, kick it back, hope you enjoy. Let's go ahead and get into this deck profile real quick. Here's the deck list. Of course, I'm going to be utilizing Rise of Nova in conjunction with Max to get the restand ability off. However, when it comes to Rise of Nova, you need to have another tag team partner to go along with it. And for this particular deck, we chose Spike and Cyclone, because what it does is that on your turn 4, you're ideally going to have 3 or 4 force markers to utilize with Rise of Nova. And because of that, you're going to increase the power of Rise of Nova. And notably, the when it attacks, the auto ability is not once per turn. So when you enable the restand through Maximum here, you're able to restand something that's going to be abusing the force markers over and over and over again. And that's the general idea of what you're trying to do. So with that, you need to have some beaters to go along with it. And the primary beater is Juggernaut Maximum base version. And the reason for that is because just generic power, and you can call it out turn 2 thanks to Rona. And ideally what you want to do, you want to ride Rona on your grade 2 turn, use the counter blast, call out Jugs Max, and then from there you can use it 2 or 3 times to be able to beat your opponent down and get your soul count up. That way, when you're ready to go into Max for his ability, you can then combo off successfully without having a need for soul issues. So beyond that, we have Agile Fullback. Ideally, you want to call this out early, and then on turns after that, you can push into the soul for the soul benefit, and then you give yourself a 20k attacker or more depending on trigger checks. And then you got 1 high speed bracky just for deck count, not for deck count, for grade 2 consistency riding. But worst comes to worst, you can always call it out via Dexter or just calling out from hand naturally. And then as for the grade 1s, we got William here. William here is a very important piece of the combo because it allows you to pass your force markers over at the tail end of your combo. So that way you can have 5, 6 attacks that are abusing the extra force markers you have going on. Really cool to be able to finish off, and it might be that last attack you need with extra power and crit to beat your opponent. And then of course we have Ambush Dexter, which is one of the crux pieces of the combo to help set up your combo. And then we have Acrobat Verde, just for consistency's sake, help you find the Rise of Nova or whatever piece you might be missing in case you miss it with Dexter or Rona. And then we have 8 crit, 4 draw, and then of course the heal guards down at the bottom. And this deck list is not my own design. It came from a guy in my Discord server, Baker. He's one who did a lot of testing while I wasn't doing Springfest testing, and he really, like, when this came out, like right before Springfest, he was really grinding it out and trying to figure out what the best combination of things were. So this is his take on it, with the ratios exactly the same. So shout outs to Slash for sharing this up with us. So yeah, with that, let's go ahead and get into the replays. All right, so this is one of my first games with the deck. I thought it was important to kind of show where I started with it and analyze what I would do differently now that I have more experience with it. So with this hand, we really wanted to try to enable a smooth ride, of course. So we want to pitch the 2 triggers and the other Agile Fullback. Also notably that having Agiles in deck are important because we want to be able to search them out with the skill. So ideally we can find another grade 2 that we can use to ride. So I pitched that back, got a nice smooth ride here. And in this game, we're going first, so riding Acrobat is good. If we're in a situation to where we need to dig for pieces, then potentially going Dexter is on the menu too, because you get the extra draw if you ride it through his skill. So here we're gonna ride Acrobat, check top 5. If you see a Heal Guardian in the top 5, it's something to consider taking it, because we have the backup Ryzen that we could toss potentially. But also, depending on what type of deck you're playing against, it makes that a more nice option. If you're playing against Excel, then maybe you want to take it, just because even if you're going first, your opponent might swarm you or something. That way you can use it before your grade 3 turn and keep yourself at a little bit lower damage. You do want to be taking some damage toward the end, because you want to have 2 or 3 counter blasts for your combo, but you also don't want to die in the process, so it's something to keep in mind. And we're playing against Messiah because they called out Vulko. So from here, with something to keep in mind. And then here, let's see what Pass Proof does. Pass Proof rides the Agile and then likely calls the Bracky. Current me would probably ride the Bracky and then call the Agile back here, because it's nice, safe, and tucked away. And from recollection, Messiah, at least until grade 3 turn, I believe, don't quote me on that, they can't lock you. So you want to be able to keep this Vulko in the back here safely. Oh, not Vulko, that's Vulko. You want to keep the Agile in the back here, and then that way you can utilize the ability to gather soul prior to you going into your max setup. But I choose to ride Agile, call Bracky over here. Ah, I see. This is my old version back when I had multiple Bracky going on, so a little bit different take on it. Okay. So I use the Heal Guard to slow me down. Vulko comes in hot. Take that. So I'm pushed to 4 here. Now, I believe, how do I say this? If I did my previous turn a little bit differently on this turn, since they used up their Heal Guardian, there's a chance that I could have been very aggressive with my setup here, and I could have went into the Cyclone setup. But that's past me, didn't do that necessarily, so we'll see what plays out here. So I ride the Ryzen. I give, oh, I'm doing cheeky things. This is me definitely like doing some exploration going on. So I give the crit and power back here because it can attack from the back. So I am going for a max setup here. So I just copied the max since I didn't have the ability to use the Dexter to get Cyclone. So now I'm swinging back here. They 2 past me. Did I give it to Ryzen? I did. They no guard, hit a draw trigger. All right. You know what? It's not what I would do now, but it was effective back then. Because since they didn't have the Heal Guardian, they didn't have the ability to, yeah, they tossed the Heal Guardian, so likely they didn't have the ability to shut down my for the power or get something a negative critical. So I thought it was nice to put the crit and power, or the double force back here, and then I could utilize max to be able to attack with the center column twice and then attack over here. Would I do that now? Probably not, because I probably would have saved the Dexter for this turn, and then I could have went into Cyclone max setup, and then I could have abused Juggernaut Maximum over here for 33k. So similar premise, because this Agile still would have been 20k through its skill, so it still would have been a nice threatening poke. But I would have had, in a world where I had 4 counter blasts to use with the Dexter, then I could have abused it that way. So not pretty, but effective. But I think it's definitely cool to check out where you're coming from with different setups. All right, so this is a game I did fairly recently, also going first. So from here we have Dexter, Bracky, and then we have 3 grade 3s that we don't want to ride. So we toss the 3 grade 3s and hope for something better in this situation. And we got a pretty good setup actually. So we got the William to ride first because it's able to call itself out from soul, which is really good for early game. And we're playing against Pale Moon, which I don't believe has a way to remove it. So pretty chill. So we ride the William, get a jug. So not ideal, but we can make do with it. I take the attack to enable the Rorna, and we did top deck Rise and Nova, which is fantastic. Call the William here, call the Agile, call the Bracky. So pretty much a nut setup, even with the 1 Bracky. This is the one I can confirm has the 1 Bracky in it, like I did in the deck profile. Previous one was something I was testing along with the different ratio, but overall the same idea. So even though the deck I give you is 1 configuration, it's not set in stone. So definitely tweak it up the way you see fit. Attack with the Rona. They take it. They take this one. They take this one. Then they choose to use the heal guard for the maximum attack. What they could have done and save themselves some grief potentially is they could have used the heal guardian earlier, and what it would have done is it would have blocked this attack and blocked the agile fullback attack, and then it could have just taken 2 damage instead of going to 3 here, which I believe is like a really big important thing to keep in mind. Just keep your damage low against spikes and it helps you out a lot. So my opponent chooses to attack face here. If they did go to one of the sides, I would have had to remove it, but I guess they felt threatened by my early aggression to feel the need to be aggressive themselves. So they hit a critical trigger, and then by doing that, it kind of gave me 2 avenues of play here. So one avenue is that I could have ridden the Ryzen and then just absorb the jugs, absorb the Bracky, and then kind of have a slower turn. However, them by playing Excel kind of made me fearful that they could take me from 3 to 6 since I'm not riding Juggernaut maximum here. So I did taking a slower turn here. Probably wasn't in my best interest, and they used their heal guardian, which made me think they didn't have a second one like in the first game. So I use agile here, I use jugs here, so these 33 and 20k respectively. And then I'm choosing between if I wanted to use the Bracky or not, because I was choosing between if I wanted to force in the max setup. So I choose to use the Bracky just for soul, get max, and I get Cyclone here. Now I don't have 2 counter blasts to use for the double Cyclone attack. However, my opponents have 3 damage and I have a 33k maximum that can attack at least twice. So I thought it was a good idea to go to push here and at the very least dwindle their hand down. And on the flip side, I can force out their other heal guardian. So get out some other big shield and still force numbers because I have the William back here to slide over the force markers. So Ryzen attacks and restands the jugs thanks to Cyclone here, which is why he's 23k. So they were questioning why it could restand, so I was showcasing it. And then they ended up taking a hit. And then I just wanted to see what my drive check would have been, and would have been 3 blanks, but I still likely would have pushed their hand down a lot. So something to keep in mind if you're playing against spikes is consider slowing down their damage a little bit. Like, yeah, you might give them some time. However, it does prevent this from happening. And as a spike, you need to understand when it's important to push and when it's important not to push as well. So analyze what your opponent is giving you and work from within that. All right, so let's go into this last game real quick. And then this last game here, we're going second. And we have a decent hand, but knowing that we're going second without a grade 2 makes for a dicey situation. So I can't remember exactly what I did in this game, but we have William here, we have Ryzen, and we have Dexter. So I think at the very least with me going second, I think I would now currently would pitch the maximum, pitch the draw, and draw 2, and then see what I get off of the redraw plus my top deck to decide if I'm going to ride William or Dexter from there. Nope, I tossed the Dexter. I tossed the Dexter. I don't think either way is more correct than the other without like really analyzing it, but just thinking about what I would do now, that's what I would do. So either way would have worked out. because then by virtue of doing that, I would have saved the Dexter for potential turn 3 setup. And we're playing as Royals, which we know Royals can retire thanks to Blaster Blade here, Blaster Blade Seeker. They're playing some Jewel Knight mixture as well, so interesting stuff, no doubt. So I guard this 10k, take that. I have the Rorna, so I'm able to set up the Juggernaut Maximum, get that down, and I'm able to call the William over here. Then I just swing. I do hit a heal trigger, and then they use their Heal Guardian. So that's a draw, crit, and a heal out that we know of. They go into Thing Saver. They can't use Thing Saver this turn since it's turn 3. It only activates on turn 4, so that takes a bit of a slower line here. They hit a crit. I hit draw crit, so I'm chilling. I let the maximum go. Now this was 28k into my maximum. I did misplay. I realized this back when I was playing it too. What I should have done, I should have given 1 power to Rorna, 1 power to maximum, because then I could have protected the maximum and then I could have shoved it into the soul the following turn. But kind of just owning up to my misplay, I just let it go. But I also could have aggressively guarded it. However, I felt like I would have needed my hand here for, and I know it's kind of cut off here, but you know it's rising over here by now. And I thought I would have needed my hand for their restand turn, especially because I was considering going into maximum for the shield value too. So I do go max. I give the power, or the circle over here, the 4 circle over here. And then I choose to go William over here for the future. But I did miss out on the potential either keeping this Acrobat in hand, or I could have called the Acrobat over here to poke at either one of these two. But on the misplay, I think it's good to show misplays, to show what could have been done better. So now they're in their Thing Saver turn with Ashley. And they have how much soul? They have 4 soul to work with. So that's fun. I take this one because I want to prevent my opponent from healing. Because to me, it was important going into a Horizon turn to be able to keep them at 2 damage. Because if I didn't take this one, they could have swung here, healed, and then gone back to 1, which would have hurt me a whole lot. So those are some things you want to keep in mind, especially if you feel comfortable that you can survive. Definitely consider a line like this to keep your opponent from healing. So I take this one on the chin, no triggers. I do hit the trigger to go up to 23k, and then all my shield value is buffed as well, so I feel really comfortable while being able to survive this attack. Retire my Acrobat. Now from here I know it's 43k max, so I guard like this and save my PG for later in case I need it. They go crit draw, and Ashley has a crit, so spooky. And now one of the virtues of max is that I'm able to turn my grade 3s into 5k shields, which allowed me to save like a bigger guard or a PG or whatever for the future. Then this comes out, that returns, does the stuff in the things. And then so successfully guarded, my opponent's at 2. I'm feeling fine. I know they have a PG in hand and a crit at the very least, and the rest of their hand, outside of a draw trigger, I believe, is a mystery. Can't remember where this draw trigger. Can't remember, but I do know at least those 2 cards. So I ride Ryzen, call Rorna, call Max, call Cyclone to enable Ryzen, and then I call over the here to get to the 4 rear guards I need for maximum. And now I'm charging down with 43k. And then a nice cool thing about Ryzen is that when I restand the column, I can restand the booster, so I can boost both of the attacks. So now I forgot the restand, but my opponent let it go. Good people. Now I needed how do I phrase this? I had exactly 4 soul. No, I had 3 soul, but I had the William down. So I used 1 soul to enable Ryzen, and then by attacking with William, I was able to shove it into the soul to get myself to 3 soul, and then I was able to use those 3 soul for max to enable the restand. So you can restand the column, but you also sometimes might need William for enabling the combo. So it's important to keep those things in mind as well. Now I'm 53k, 2 crit, and my opponent just had to eat it. Swing again, no guard, Rising with the crit, and I was able to push through there. So proper sequence is very important when you're trying to figure out how to maximize your play, depending on how your pieces fall. But some things to keep in mind, I think this deck, in my opinion, is the current best version of Spikes coming out of Clan Collection with the Max Cyclone mix. I do have another version that I'm going to be showcasing down the line here, but I hope you enjoyed this. I'm considering just dumping replays of Max Cyclone as a follow-up video to this. If you would like that, let me know, but I still might do it and kind of see what people think about it, and then continue that trend for future videos if you like that. But for now, I really hope you enjoyed this video. It's been a whole lot of fun getting back into playing V-Series. I hope you can feel that and see that, and I hope you give it a look-see, especially with the Clan Collection coming out. But yeah, that'll do it for me. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you next time. Peace. Be easy.